Code Sports Talk. I am your host, Andrew Wright. Here is my co-host, Cody Johnson. We are still talking about fantasy baseball. A question that I really like to ask myself in my head, and not really tell anyone else.
What does one think in the brain yours?
When I'm drafting, I can't give away my secret, my precious. But I really like to look at underrated players and devalued players. And I put a list together last year. My underrated players that I actually drafted.
Yeah, most of these
was Marcus Stroman, Chris Archer, and I think at the time Manny Machado was kind of a little underrated. He was high up there,
yeah,
but I don't think anyone expected him to do what he did last year.
No, not this soon. That is.
No, and actually Johnny Cueto.
Yes,
a lot of people had him high, but they didn't think that he was going to do as well as he did. So. And I remember I had Cueto because Giants, whatever. Anyway,
such a.
But I put on here as the underrated or devalued players. I have Ian Kinsler from Detroit Tigers, second baseman. Mm-hmm. Charlie Blackmon, outfielder for the Colorado Rockies. Christian Yelich, the Miami Marlins, outfielder. Carlos Gonzalez, outfielder for the Colorado Rockies. And Yadier Molina, the catcher for the Cardinals. I like all those guys. One guy I really wanted to talk about, and I really want to get to the point across before I go to you. I wanted to talk about Yadier Molina. And a lot of people, because he's older, he's been in the league for a while, a lot of people feel like he's not really fantasy worthy. Mm-hmm. And the reason being is he doesn't hit a lot of home runs. And home runs in fantasy baseball are huge.
Right.
They are very huge. So I'm not saying Yadier Molina needs to be your first pick. I'm not saying Molina needs to be your 15th pick. Mm-hmm. Okay? I'm strictly saying he needs to be a guy that you need to try and get. Mm-hmm. And the reason being is Yadier Molina always hits for over 300. Mm-hmm. He always does, it seems like. Now, there are years where he hasn't. I get that. I'm not saying
2 years, though, honestly.
Yeah, he's always hitting. Mm-hmm. He's always getting on base somehow. So you know you're going to get the points for the total bases. Mm-hmm. You know you're going to get the points for him when he scores a run. Mm-hmm. He's always on base, it seems like to me. I like him. They only project him to hit over 287. My projection is he's going to hit over 300. He's always a consistent hitter. I have no objection to them saying he's going to have 7 home runs to his 8 home runs last year. Mm-hmm. I have no issue with that. I would say he might hit 10, but if he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised. Mm-hmm. And then they have him hitting 52 RBIs. I actually really like this Cardinals team this year. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to have over 75, and I know that's a huge jump of those numbers, mm-hmm. but I really feel like Yadier Molina is such a consistent hitter. He always comes in the clutch for St. Louis Cardinals. And because he is on a Cardinals team, mm-hmm. St. Louis Cardinals to me are the same as like a New England Patriot or mm-hmm. a San Antonio Spurs team, where no matter what they do, you just trust what they're going to do.
Right.
You trust that they're always going to have a good team.
Right.
Yadier Molina is on that team is like their Tom Brady.
Right. I do like Molina. I think a couple of things that stand out to me is the batting average, because I'm a big batting average fanatic, and I will split hairs when it comes to someone batting like 275 to like a 301 or a 302. I do think it is a big difference because, he obviously has a greater chance of getting on base or connecting with the ball in a greater sense, regardless of the percentage points, honestly. But one thing that does alarm me with Molina is his strikeouts has increased since 2011. So 2010 he only had 44, jumped all the way up to 55 for 2 consecutive years, and 59 in last year 64. To me, the strikeouts are starting to increase. I don't know if that coincides with his age because his batting average hasn't really fluctuated too much. If anything, the past 2 years it's still increasingly gone up or remained the same. That's pretty good for a 34-year-old, still hitting over 300. That's still pretty good.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's really good for a guy who's played the catcher position his whole career.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying not to pick on the Giants here, but Buster Posey, they're trying to phase him out to go to first base because they want to keep him as long as they can.
Right.
Molina's been doing it his whole career, and they haven't even tried to touch him going into another position.
Well, also though, the way he can help the pitchers though, when it comes to pitcher and catcher connection though, Molina is on another playing field. He is very intelligent in that aspect, and that's honestly one consistent thing that the Cardinals have other than hitting is their pitching. They do have consistent pitchers, and it's no coincidence that Molina has been there with all the good pitchers and with all the rotation pitchers that they have now, and just the connection and how he can call games. In my opinion, that's still really good. But as a hitter, primarily, I would just be really wary of these strikeouts. It's starting to go up little by little each year as his age. And, playing the catcher, you are very good, and you are essentially the coordinator of the defense, so to speak, when you're the catcher. But I do think as hitting-wise, you might want to keep your eye on that. Just because if your bat speed slows, you'll see it. But Molina, though, consistently 300. I don't see him going under 300 this year. But I do agree he might get 75 RBIs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps all the way up to 70 or 80 strikeouts as well. So.
Yeah. Very good points. You're right. That is honestly, I think that's the only issue that I see with Molina. I mean, other than that, like you said, with batting average, guy's good. Yeah. Carlos Gonzalez. I'm not going to go too in depth with Carlos Gonzalez. They always undervalue him, in my opinion, and the reason is because he's getting older, and so a lot of people think, he's in a great hitter's ballpark. I think if he was on any team, and he'd be killing it. And I really like Carlos Gonzalez. I wanted him. They were talking about trading him last year. The Rockies were, and I wanted the Giants to go after him because we were hurting in the outfield at that time.
Right.
And I still feel like I would love him in left field. Have him in left field. You'd have Span in center and Pence in right. I would love that because then you have a big bat with Gonzalez, and you'd have a big bat with Posey. Yeah. Carlos Gonzalez to me is a guy who's always going to hit well. He's not just a guy because he's in Colorado where his numbers are inflated. I think he would do the same no matter where he played. So I always think Carlos Gonzalez is undervalued. But the guy I really wanted to talk about was Christian Yelich. We talked about him in the World Baseball Classic. I actually had Christian Yelich last year, and he was very good for me. And it wasn't because he hit over 300, which he did. I really liked. I'm sorry, he had 298. I always think of it.
Can we round up already?
He had 21 home runs, and that was surprising to me because I don't remember him having that many home runs.
It was probably the quietest 21 home runs you'll see.
I was actually amazed that he didn't have 100 RBIs. He had 98. Okay, whoa. But I think he's one of the best guys, one of the best hitters in the game. And the reason I say that is he reminds me a lot of Barry Bonds, who coincidentally was his hitting coach last year.
We know.
But Barry Bonds was very good at, he knew the strike zone. He knew what pitch was going to come, if that ball was going to be in the strike zone, if that ball was going to be a ball. And so he was very good at that. Barry Bonds, as we alluded to last week, where he had one of the better walks.
Yes.
Overall, he was in the top 3.
By a mile.
Yeah. He had a ton of walks in his career and in a lot of seasons. Christian Yelich reminds me a lot of that. He takes a ton of walks. And I love that because that means he's always on base. So even if he's walking, you know that you're still going to get some points from him getting in a run. I like the Marlins team if Stanton can stay healthy, then that's going to do wonders. If Stanton can stay healthy, it does wonders for Yelich.
Right.
I really like the Christian Yelich kid. I think he's going to get even better this year. They have him hitting 294. This is all ESPN projections, by the way. 294, 16 home runs, 82 RBIs, 14 stolen bases. I disagree with the batting average. I think he's over 300. I have no objection with the home runs. I think that's fine. I have him over 15 home runs anyway. I think he's going over 100 RBIs. And I feel like the stolen bases, I think he'll get over 15. I'm not really going to nitpick the stolen bases because it's, 14 to 15.
Right.
But I like Christian Yelich. He's a guy who he gets on base and he's going to score runs.
I agree with you on a lot of points, and actually his batting average is deceivingly, I would almost say it may be 298, but it looked a lot like 300. And the reason why I say that is because about 80% of the season, because you actually in our fantasy baseball team offered to trade him to me for, I think, a couple other players. Can't remember the exact criteria of the trade breakdown.
Too, because I love Yelich.
I know, but he offered him to me, and I just looked at him, and man, one of the things that was really holding me back was the home runs, which, as I learned throughout the season, isn't a big deal because the batting average and the RBIs are there according to the numbers that they were. And I actually think that he will be above 300 this year. And even according to, I'm going off of MLB.com on these stats, but he actually has increased his home runs 3 times over from the last season, even though he played 30 more games. So that is like a really big improvement. And his batting average is about the same. And I actually won't be surprised if it's about 315. I think he's about right there. And I do think that he will be about 98 to 100 RBIs again. We'll see, though, if the whole Barry Bonds departing Miami will play a big difference. Because who knows, maybe that was big for Christian to be a really good hitter because he had that coach that knew the batter's box and knew the strike zone to help him kind of see where he needs to place the bat. Other than that, though, if he can prove that he can be a hitter without that, I think it'll be really great. But Stanton, though, needs to stay healthy to help him, because if people are going to pitch around Stanton and then bring him in, or if he's in front of Stanton, then that's just going to help too, because he doesn't need to hit for power now. He just needs to hit to get on and then just get home from there. Yeah. So, but I do like him a lot, just like you did. And the more you talk about him and what he has, the more I actually think that he will be an overachiever, and he's really underrated. And I think that his stats, the projections don't justify how good he is and how good he will be. And he's only 25. He's very young, and who knows, this year could be a huge breakout year. There's always like 10 guys that break out the following year after, they increase, and then they have a season that we think is really good, and then they have a better season. And who knows, this could be his better season. He's definitely probably getting right into that prime years for his baseball career.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really like Yelich. Another guy I really like is Charlie Blackmon. Now, a lot of people are going to go, he's underrated. You guys think he's underrated? Mm-hmm. He's actually projected to go second, maybe even third round. Mm-hmm. But Charlie Blackmon is, he got injured a lot last year, and again, I had him. So his numbers, I was actually surprised that it said that he had 29 home runs. I remember there was a week, actually it was 2 weeks, where it just seemed like he was hitting a home run almost every other day. Mm-hmm. And it was fantastic. I was winning a ton with that. Yeah. But he's a guy who's hitting over 300. And again, a lot of people look at Charlie Blackmon and go, well, it's because of of the ballpark that he plays in majority of the time. You're right. A lot of those home runs are going to be for him, for Charlie Blackmon. Yes, the ballpark helps him. But his batting average, the ballpark does not help with your batting average. No, it does not. I don't care who you are, it doesn't help. Mm-hmm. The batting average tells me that you are consistent at the plate. You know what to swing at. You know that you don't have to crush a home run every time. He hit 324 last year. They project him to go 306. I have no objection over that because he is the leadoff hitter. Mm-hmm. So to have over 300 is tough enough because you're going to have the most at-bats out of your team. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he's going to be over a 25 home run guy. He might even hit over 30 this year, honestly. That's who I have him over. I think he's going to have over 100 RBIs. He's in his prime. He's a guy who hit. He's in his prime, and the guys who hit behind him are scarier than opposing pitchers. Right. So he's going to see a lot of pitchers, and he's got stolen base speed. So I really like Charlie Blackmon. I think he's underrated. He's not talked about enough, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think he should be in the conversation, and I know you might freak out about this, but I think he absolutely should be in the conversation of a Mike Trout and Mookie Betts. He's got that kind of stuff.
Okay. I'm not going to say those two quite yet, just because those are still pretty high echelons. But however, it's hard to debate you saying that he won't be in their discussion as far as as their playing status and how well he is. And the reason why it's hard for me to argue that, even though you're saying Mike Trout and Betts, is because even though he played in 15 less games from 2015 to 16, he had 19 more runs. He had, I think it was 40 more total bases. His home runs improved. Yeah, sure, he had a lower stolen base, but his total bases also went up tremendously. And again, that's missing 19 games of the season when he was mostly injured. It's really hard to debate saying that he's not going to hit these numbers. I actually just seeing from his growth that he's had over the last 2 to 3 years, I actually think that these projections are a little just under what the safe zone would be. There's a zone where I think he'll get here, and then you go under just to be on the safe side. I actually think he'll go above. I think he'll be a little bit higher with batting average. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw 30 plus home runs out of him if he's going to stay healthy. And who knows, 28 stolen bases, it could be 30, 35 easily.
Yeah.
So, he's that kind of a player. I just want to see more consistency, and you're right, though. It's the hitters that are behind him also that help pitchers pitch to him, because if you're going to walk him, then you have Arenado, and then you're going to have, who's the other one, Gonzalez. So you got
Trevor
three,
Story, who they
right.
think is going to do
You've got 4 really good hitters right there in a hitter's-friendly ballpark half the year. So it's really hard to argue that. But yeah, it's hard to say that he's not good, that he's not underrated, because the numbers speak for themselves, and I actually think that he'll probably beat his projections, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Another guy I wanted to get across was Ian Kinsler. I love Ian Kinsler. I love that he is just a pure baseball guy. Honestly, that's why I love him. He's a guy who's not going to kill the batting average. He's a career, 280, 285 batting average guy. I actually think he's going to hit over 300 this year, and the reason being is and I know I'm going based off World Baseball Classic, and you can't really necessarily go off of that because it's technically spring training for these guys. But what I saw with Ian Kinsler, after what I saw with Ian Kinsler, the passion that he plays with, and I've seen him 2-3 years now. And I've never had him on my fantasy team, and I've always tried every single year. I like the kid. They project him to hit 281, 20 home runs, 79 RBIs, and 13 stolen bases. I think he gets over basically all of those except for the home runs. I think he hits over 300. 20 home runs I have no objection to. I think he gets over 85 RBIs. He might even get more, but the Tigers team is a little iffy to me right now. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be hard for him to get to 100 RBIs. But I think he's going to get 15 steals because he does have sneaky speed. You don't think of Kinsler because he's small. It's like a Jose Altuve. Mm-hmm. And to me, I really like Kinsler. And the guy, he's just a ball player. Yeah. That's all he does. Baseball is everything that he does. It's like, to me, it reminds me of what we saw with a Ron Baker for the New York Knicks. Right. Ron Baker is a kid who came from Wichita State. All the kid did was play hard. He wasn't the best player out there. He wasn't the best shooter. He wasn't the best defender. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the best at anything, honestly. But he played really hard, and he got adrenaline. He got his team to play together. And I saw that when the Knicks played the Golden State Warriors. Mm-hmm. I saw that in Ron Baker, and I've watched him every now and then as well. Mm-hmm. And the kid just comes out every game, and it's just like, dude, you can slow down sometimes. Yeah. But, he doesn't want to. And I love those types of players. And Ian Kinsler is one of those guys, and that guy, that's why he's hitting over 280 in a career. I could never do that. That's going too hard. So I love Ian Kinsler. I really like him.
It's hard to dismiss any of that. I don't think he'll get to 300 though, as far as batting average. I think he will probably stay at about his average. He's about between 270 and 280, so I think he'll be around 285-ish, I think will be a good sweet spot. In my opinion, though, I think it just depends. The hitter he's got to be is what the Tigers need him to be. And if he's going to hit for power, then you're going to see probably that batting average slightly go down just because you're probably going to take in a lot more strikeouts than you are getting on base. But according to his numbers here, he gets on base a ton, and he has increased it, especially from last year. He has 30 more total bases than he did in 2015. So, if anything, he does play with a great joy that makes you feel like a little kid when you watch him. Like, he's that Little League kid that loved it, Little League, and still loves it to today. And the only cool thing is he just gets paid for it, and that's him. I just think though that as he's getting older though, his game is going to be a bit smarter. He's not going to probably hit for power. I don't know his stolen bases honestly because I haven't seen his speed quite yet. But I would probably say if he does get to about, let's say, 80 to 90 RBIs, I think it's going to be in a more meticulous, smarter fashion than hitting home runs. That's where I think if he's going to go for power, if that's what the Tigers want to do, which I hope that they don't, that'll probably be more where we see a decline in batting average. I don't think the RBIs will follow from there, and I don't see him getting on base as much. But as a career on base percentage of 344, which is really good, it's hard to say that he's going to go power. He'll probably be more conventional and be infield, but I don't see him going to over 300 in batting average, but I do still seeing him being Mr. Consistent though. He's definitely proven that over the years that he can be consistent. He has almost every other year he'll have flashes of like a really good career highs, and then he'll just settle down a little bit. And I think this is not the settle. I think this is the settle down year, and then he's going to jump right back up. So, but we'll see though.
Yeah, one guy I actually did want to bring up that we actually don't have on our notes. Speaking of the Tigers, is Miguel Cabrera. I actually heard there's a lot of debate of, is Miguel Cabrera underrated? And that kind of blew my mind because I was like, when?
Yeah.
when was he underrated? He had a bad year last year because he was injured.
Yeah, but he still hit above 300, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was still hitting 300 and...
That's what I'm saying. How was he underrated? But
maybe it's because he wasn't 350. He was only 310.
I mean, it helps Ian Kinsler when Miguel Cabrera is there.
Right.
I think Kinsler's numbers go a little bit down. Man, that's basically with a lot of these players, though.
Yeah.
When someone is out, that's Melky Cabrera. But when a lot of those players go out, you're gonna get hurt. So I don't know.
I don't know why he would be underrated.
I'm going to say Miguel Cabrera is not underrated. If you have a chance to draft him because he's going to hit for power. But not only does a lot of people don't talk about it, he hits for average a lot. Yeah. He's not bad at it. No, he's not bad at the hitting game.
And he gets on base, honestly, and that's why when you said underrated, I kind of was like, now for me to do that, I'm not a big baseball guy like he is. I know a little bit, but not nearly as much as him. But I know Cabrera is always consistent, so if I had the opportunity to draft him wherever round he falls to me in, then yeah, I would jump on that because I know that I'm going to get at least 300 out of him.
Yeah, I mean, it amazes me that was even a question.
Yeah,
whatever. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Drew Code Sports Talk, and also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which is Drew Code Sports Talk. Thank you guys very much.